Hi and welcome back to the studio. Another product test today, very exciting. It's the much anticipated Paradym driver from Callaway. So after years of alternate epics and rogues, Callaway have finally broken the mould and gone for a different name, completely different look and different technology by all accounts. You can read all about the technical stuff online. I'm not going to go through that and bore you here. We're more interested in, does it work? What does it feel like? And is this something that you might be interested in playing this year? So I've been playing a lot of shots over the last couple of hours. I'll show you the results in a sec. I'll just hit one for you. I've set it up at 10.5 degrees, neutral square face. Probably not how I'd exactly have it if I was tailoring it for myself, but it is a shaft that suits my swing speed, around about 105 to 108 miles an hour normally. But obviously if you have it fitted, it may be slightly different to this. But it'd be interesting to see, I know what numbers I'm expecting off a normal driver. Can Paradym raise the bar slightly as they are predicting on all their social media and advertising channels? Let's have a look. So first things first, behind the ball, looks very traditional Callaway shape. By that I mean slightly sort of rounded look. The three different models they offer actually do look very different behind the golf ball, as you can see from the image that I'm showing you now. The X model, which is their draw bias model, is slightly longer in the tail, as you'd expect. And then the triple diamond, which is their version of the low spin model, much smaller looking head behind the ball, much more compact. They get rid of the little white chevron as a ball alignment aid. So it's a cleaner looking, smaller looking club, will appeal to the better player, I think. But we'll have a look at the results of all three and then you can make your mind up. So this is the Paradym. The middle one, if you like, is going to be the best selling one. I'm going to play my little traditional fade and see how it stands up. Okay, so you can hear by the sound, really solid sounding actually, much more solid than I had thought it was going to be when I heard that it was all carbon in the body of the club. So let's have a look at that shot along with all the others, put them together, and then I'll give you my recommendations on where you should be looking if you want to try this product out. So the first thing to note about the results is the Paradym, which is the best-selling product, if you like, the one that's going to fit most categories, in the purple here. Ball speed at 149, that's very similar to what I normally achieve, around about 148 actually, so there's a slight uplift for me there. The launch angle at 13.6, and that was a 10.5 headed driver, so it is designed, the Paradym, to launch high, and that is a high launch for me. And the spin rate at 2.9, now that's pretty good for me because I cut the ball, so I'm going to add backspin to every single driver. If I can keep it below 3,000, I think that's a really good balance for someone who cuts the ball deliberately off the tee, or most of the times deliberately anyway. And then my carry at 247, obviously with some run out depending on the conditions. So I did hit that a little bit off the bottom of the club and towards the toe, which is my miss, or in fact it's more like my regular shot, to be honest. I slightly catch it below the equator most of the time, so again that uplifts the spin ever so slightly. But very good, felt very solid, very forgiving, and you can see up here the dispersion was well within the fairway, the width of the fairway, with pretty much every shot I hit. Quite a high trajectory, as you can see on the picture on the left here where the cursor is, but very happy, could play that club easily. Then I moved to the Paradym X, which is their inverted commas draw bias driver. So again, designed to give a little bit more backspin, a little bit more help and a little bit more draw spin. Interestingly, for me, and I don't know if anyone else has found this, but there was very little difference between the feel of those two clubs. And actually there was no real evidence of it providing excess draw spin, unlike the Ping product, which you may see in my other video, which is loaded with draw spin. So I actually got a little bit more ball speed off of the Paradym X. That might be because the forgiveness is slightly greater, and as I say, I hit it slightly below the centre, so I can understand that being a little better off a off-centre hit. Launch again still quite high. But that added spin that you get from a more forgiving club, 3,300, has just taken my carry down below the Paradym, even though I had more ball speed, if that makes sense. But I could easily use either of those products. I will say that I had to work a little bit harder to hit my cut with the X, so it wouldn't be the one I chose out of the two of them. But it might be for some people. And then finally the TD, the triple diamond, that's their low spinning option, if you like. And this is really interesting, a big difference here. So exactly the same loft on the club, 10.5. You can see it launches considerably lower than the others, and you can see by the trajectory here that it looks different in flight as well. So a lot more ball speed, interestingly, a lot lower spin, so 500 revs lower than the Paradym, and I'm hitting the same shape shot with all of these, and that resulted in 10 yards further. Now you'd think instantly, well, that's the club I should be playing, but in fact until you look at the dispersion, and this is pretty much across the board with low spinning drivers, is that in order to get the spin down, the sweet spot on the club has to be smaller. Therefore, if you don't hit the middle, for me, the results are more extreme. So my cuts were wider and my hooks were more severe. And you can see at least half the balls I hit were outside the width of the fairway, despite the fact they were considerably longer through the air and then ran a bit further too. So that club will suit people who just want to hit the longest distance possible or hit the middle of the club very regularly. You can see why it's a better players club. I think the really good compromise here is to take off a few yards from your carry, but to hit a lot more fairways. Again, I've said it in previous videos, but I think that's a compromise that most golfers will take to get their scores down rather than 10 more yards off the tee, but in the rough. Oh, that felt good, sounds good. Overall, the Paradym's been an absolute treat to hit. And if I can hit my little fade onto a green 275 yards away, it's definitely offered me a little bit more than I've been having from my driver this year. So even though I'm playing a little cut there, still spinning below 3,000. Big carry for me, that 257. So I've been very impressed with this product, and I think it's going to be up there in the sort of best drivers of this year, even with all the other products launching at the same time. So come and give it a go. There's different head models for different golfers. I think you'd enjoy the experience of hitting the Paradym, and once we can tailor it for your exact swing characteristics, I think you'll see some benefits, particularly on off-centre hits, which is where all the drivers this year seem to be concentrating all their efforts. You definitely get better results when you don't hit the middle there. Okay, well, thanks for watching again. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll be back with more videos soon.